Though at first glance this game may be a seemingly innocent experience about the life of a corporate employee, it very quickly derails itself into a hellish and questionable reality where we, the player, are slowly given new revelations and bits and pieces as to what's really going on in this new world that we've been so very quickly thrown into. With one action, everything changes into an ominous and mysterious narrative of addiction, trauma, and non-permanence. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is TheoSpartic, and join me now as we dive into the Perfect Vermin. The game starts us off in an elevator, getting us comfortable in the ways that most would, with a basic tutorial on how to progress, including the basic movement keys and how to interact with your environment. This is where the game throws us our first curveball, equipping us with a sledgehammer but no explanation as to why, leading us to start exploring the office space we have found ourselves in. Upon further inspection, we realize we are alone, with nothing but the glowing windows from the adjacent skyscrapers to keep us company. Coming to terms with our newfound solitude, we turn back to the task at hand, finding out what is really going on here. With no clue about what to do, we take advantage of our only option, proceeding to go to town on the office. Nothing is safe until we find our purpose here. By this point, we will begin to have our suspicions that not everything is as it seems here. Something is out of place. Something does not belong. Shaking off this creeping idea, we continue on, until the paranoia becomes real. This is where the game makes a tonal shift, and we realize what the number in the top left of our screen has been for. Something has been hiding in plain sight, and we are to seek it out. With our newfound mission, we make our way through the area, assuring not to miss any of these things feigning normality. Upon the location of our last objective, we are greeted by a character I will refer to as the Anchor. He informs us that we are done with our task here and to make our way to the elevator so we can do this all again. Upon arrival to the second level, the Anchor informs us that we are to continue our task, but this time to perform it better. This is where the game greets us with a timer, introducing to us the first theme that our time is running out here. Swiftly moving through this level, we make quick work of our task, during which the Anchor will tell us not to let these things spread, leading us to wonder what these things really are. But before we can finish that thought, we locate the last one, and the Anchor informs us that the rest of the building must be cleansed. We then return to the elevator to continue our seeming crusade of the building. The Anchor, now with a bloodied nose, tells us to take a no-nonsense approach this time. Following these orders, we continue on with our task, with the Anchor saying things like, "They are waiting for you, and they do not feel pain." After finding the last one, we are once again met with the Anchor, but this time, growths have appeared on his skin, and the ashtray off to the left is now full. He disapprovingly informs us that we took longer than was intended, and we are then ushered on to the next area. Upon arriving there, we find that the floor's geometry has become uncooperative. With everything turned on its head, we continue with our job and eradicate what we find here. After which, the Anchor simply tells us to go. Coming to the next area, we are greeted by a now speechless Anchor, slumped over in his chair, his skin now festering with bruised and necrotic masses. On top of that, we are now to pay attention to two different screens, and a higher number of vermin, showing us that this is not going to work out if this goes on. After finding the last one, we are taken to a different area, the entrance to which is covered in no smoking signs. The Anchor then appears, ashtray completely overflowing, with his appearance being unmade, skin sloughing off his body, unable to hold himself up any longer. We then get our first bit of informative dialogue. He informs us of how he hated his mother and never wanted to become like her, but he is being confronted by the sadistic irony that he has and will die just like her. He then apologizes to the player, telling us that our given goal was never achievable. We were always going to lose. The man we find before us has accepted he is on his deathbed, never to rise again. He offers no excuse for the situation he finds himself in. He offers no excuse for the hate that has led him here. He then tells you not to worry yourself with the timer this time. There is no point. It's not for us. He goes on to say he once again finds himself amused with the simple things, such as the beauty of color. Things he thought before were only trivial, until he comes to terms with the fact he will never know them again. It was good while it lasted. He wishes he had more time. We now find ourselves in a foreign area to what we've seen so far, the inside of what seems to be a human trachea. Making our way down, we find what seems to be an assortment of metastatic growths blocking our way. Knocking down all in our path, we then make our way to another elevator. After entering the elevator, we appear inside a doctor's exam room. An ominous ambiance looms overhead as we hear footsteps approaching. The doctor enters and we try to hurry them on. In response to which, the doctor calls us by name and begrudgingly states that we must go over our test results. Our character, who we now realize as the anchor, protests, saying he has a massacre to cover, people are dying, to which the doctor quickly states that it is we who are dying. But all the anchor is concerned with is the neglect of himself and the pursuit of this ambitious story. But the cancer has spread everywhere, voraciously consuming every part of us. There's no saving us. We don't have much time left. The anchor, still stuck on the idea of this massive story, refuses to listen. The doctor grimly reminds us that this will not just go away after leaving. The anchor then lastly states, "No one will care about my death if I don't prove to them that I ever lived." And with that, Perfect Vermin reaches its conclusion. An artistic telling of a story as to why it is so important not to fall into the cycle of trauma before us, but instead, rise above the situation we are given. The anchor never fully overcame his parental abuse, leading him to fall victim to the very same addiction that took the life of his mother and eventually him. My name is TheoSpartic, and this has been a video game deep dive. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good night.